She trusted him with her heart, her home, her future. But what she never expected was that the person she loved most was living a secret life. Tonight, you're about to hear 8 shocking true stories of cheating and betrayal that will leave you questioning who you really trust. Welcome to True Betrayal Diaries, the home of real, raw, and emotional stories about betrayal, heartbreak, and the dark side of love. In this video, we'll share 8 true stories of couples, fiancés, and long-term relationships where trust was shattered and lives were changed forever. Stick around, because each story will reveal how lies can hide in plain sight, and how surviving betrayal can make someone stronger than ever. Before we begin, tell me in the comments, have you ever suspected a partner of cheating or trusted someone blindly? Let's see how many of you can relate. The phone she was never allowed to touch. She met him in 2018 in Columbus, Ohio. His name was Aaron. He was calm, reassuring, and emotionally available in a way she had never experienced before. For Melissa, this relationship felt safe. They moved in together after a year. They shared bills, routines, and future plans. Aaron spoke about marriage casually, like it was already decided. But there was one rule in their relationship that never sat right with her. She was never allowed to touch his phone. At first, it sounded reasonable. He said privacy mattered to him. He said past relationships had damaged his trust. Melissa respected that. Love, after all, is built on trust. But over time, the rule became rigid. Aaron slept with his phone under his pillow. He took it into the bathroom. If Melissa walked past him while he was texting, he would tilt the screen away instinctively. Not dramatically, just enough to notice. She told herself she was overthinking. Until the night everything changed. It was a Sunday evening. Aaron was in the shower. His phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. Once. Twice, 3 times. Melissa tried to ignore it. Then she saw the preview message light up the screen. "I miss you. Last night wasn't enough." Her heart dropped. She stared at the phone like it might explode. She had never broken his rule before, but something inside her knew. This wasn't curiosity anymore. This was survival. She unlocked the phone, and her entire relationship collapsed in seconds. The messages weren't new. They weren't accidental. They weren't harmless. They were months old, explicit messages. Photos, voice notes, plans, inside jokes she didn't recognize. The woman's name was Rachel, and she wasn't just a fling. Melissa scrolled through the chat history with shaking hands. Rachel talked about their weekends together, their apartment. Their arguments? Apartment? Aaron and Melissa shared a home. When Aaron came out of the bathroom, towel around his waist, Melissa was sitting at the table with the phone in front of her. He froze. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She asked one question. "How long?" Aaron sat down slowly. Then the truth came out. Rachel wasn't a side piece. Rachel was his girlfriend of 3 years, living in Dayton, about an hour away. Melissa was the other woman. Aaron had been living a double life, switching cities, schedules, and personalities. He told Rachel he traveled for work. He told Melissa he worked late. He celebrated holidays twice, said "I love you" twice, promised a future twice, and somehow never got caught. Until now. Melissa felt numb, not angry, not hysterical, just empty. She packed a bag that night, didn't argue, didn't beg for explanations, didn't ask why, because cheating isn't a mistake. It's a decision repeated daily. Weeks later, Melissa reached out to Rachel. Rachel was devastated. She had been discussing engagement rings with Aaron. She had no idea Melissa existed. 2 women, 2 lives. One liar, Aaron lost both of them. Melissa moved out, started therapy, and rebuilt her life slowly. She later wrote anonymously online, "The phone wasn't the problem. The lies were. I didn't lose a man, I escaped a future built on deception." Cheating doesn't always look like secrecy and distance. Sometimes it looks like love, with rules designed to protect lies. The wedding dress she never got to wear. She thought the hardest part of love was compromise. She was wrong. In early 2021, in Phoenix, Arizona, Natalie was 3 months away from her wedding day. The venue was booked. The invitations were sent. The dress hung carefully in her closet, wrapped in plastic like a promise waiting to be fulfilled. Her fiancé's name was Chris. They had been together for 5 years. They survived long distance. They survived job losses. They survived family drama. To Natalie, that meant something. Chris was charming, dependable, and deeply involved in the wedding planning. He helped choose colors. He attended tastings. He talked about children like it was already decided. But there was one thing Natalie couldn't ignore. Chris had started guarding his laptop. He used to leave it open on the couch. Now he shut it instantly. He changed passwords. He took it everywhere. When Natalie asked, he laughed it off. "Work stuff," he said. "Nothing interesting." She wanted to believe him. But intuition doesn't scream, it whispers. One evening, while Chris was asleep, Natalie noticed his laptop light up with a notification. She didn't plan to look. She truly didn't. But the name caught her eye. "Can't wait to see you again, Elle." Her chest tightened. She gently opened the laptop. What she found felt unreal. There was an entire email thread, months old. Romantic messages, private jokes, hotel confirmations, photos she had never seen. The woman's name was Lauren, and Lauren wasn't just someone he met recently. She lived in San Diego, and according to the emails, she believed she was in a serious relationship with Chris. Natalie sat there in silence, scrolling through proof that her future was unraveling. Trips Chris said were business conferences. Weekends he said were guys' trips. Even a recent visit to choose wedding rings. He had emailed Lauren that same night, telling her he wished she were there instead. At this point in the video, let me ask you something. If you discovered this 3 months before your wedding, would you confront them immediately or quietly gather proof first? Natalie chose proof. She took screenshots. She forwarded emails to herself. She saved hotel receipts. Then she did something Chris never expected. She contacted Lauren. Lauren replied within minutes. She was confused, but polite. She thought Natalie was a coworker. Until Natalie sent a photo of the engagement ring. Lauren went silent. Then she sent one message. "He told me he was single." The truth came out quickly after that. Lauren and Chris had been dating for nearly 2 years. Chris told her he traveled often for work. He told her he wasn't ready for marriage yet. Meanwhile, Natalie was planning a wedding with a man who had already emotionally left. When Natalie confronted Chris the next morning, he didn't deny it. He cried, he begged. He said it was a mistake. He said he panicked about marriage. But cheating isn't panic, it's preparation. Natalie called off the wedding that same day. She returned the dress. She canceled vendors. She told her family the truth, every painful detail. Some people told her she was brave. Others said she should have worked it out. But Natalie knew something important. A marriage built on lies doesn't become honest after vows. Here's a question for you watching. Do you believe cheating before marriage is a deal breaker? Or do you think people deserve a second chance? Natalie chose herself. Lauren left Chris too. And Chris, he lost everything he was juggling. Months later, Natalie wrote online, "I didn't lose a wedding. I lost a future that would have destroyed me slowly. Sometimes betrayal doesn't happen after marriage. Sometimes it happens before. As a warning, you're brave enough to..." She found out she was the other woman at her own anniversary dinner. For Claire, anniversaries mattered. They were proof that love could last, that consistency meant commitment. So when her boyfriend of 4 years, Jonathan, surprised her with a reservation at a high-end restaurant in Chicago, she felt chosen. It was their 4th anniversary, 4 years of shared routines, 4 years of inside jokes, 4 years of believing she was building a future with the right man. Jonathan was calm, polished, and dependable. He worked in finance. He dressed well. He spoke carefully. He never gave Claire a reason to doubt him. At least not openly. That night, Claire wore a navy blue dress Jonathan once told her made her look unforgettable. He brought flowers. He ordered champagne. He toasted to many more years. And for a moment, everything felt real. Until the server came back to the table. The woman paused, smiled politely, then looked confused. "I'm sorry," she said, "but didn't you two just celebrate your anniversary here last weekend?" Silence fell hard. Jonathan froze. Claire laughed awkwardly. "I think you're mistaken." The server hesitated. "I remember clearly. Same man, same booth. Different woman." Time slowed. Jonathan's hand slipped from Claire's. The server realized something was wrong. She apologized and walked away. Claire turned to Jonathan. Her voice was calm. "Explain." Jonathan stared at the table, didn't answer. At this point, let me ask you watching. If this happened to you in public, would you stay calm or would you walk out immediately? Claire stayed, because part of her still hoped this was a misunderstanding. Jonathan finally spoke. She's an old friend. The lie was weak. Even he knew it. Claire stood up. She walked to the restroom, not to cry, but to think. That's when her phone buzzed. A message request. From a woman she didn't know. "Hi, I think we need to talk about Jonathan." Her chest tightened. Claire replied. The woman's name was Emily. Emily didn't accuse. She didn't insult. She asked one question. "Are you with him right now?" Claire said yes. Emily sent a photo, Jonathan, at the same restaurant. Same booth, same smile. Emily wrote, "We've been together for 6 years. Tonight is our anniversary too." Claire felt the room spin. She returned to the table slowly. Jonathan saw her face and knew. She placed her phone down between them. He didn't deny it, he didn't argue. He exhaled like a man who had been holding his breath for years. The truth spilled out in pieces. Jonathan had been living a double life since before he met Claire. Emily lived in the suburbs. Claire lived downtown. Different schedules, different routines, same lies. He celebrated anniversaries twice, said "I love you" twice, promised marriage twice, and believed he was smart enough to never get caught, until a server recognized him. Claire didn't cry in the restaurant. She paid her half of the bill, took her purse, and walked out. Emily and Claire met the next day. Two women who had unknowingly shared the same man. Emily was devastated. She had been waiting for a proposal. She had defended Jonathan to friends who doubted him. Claire realized something chilling. She wasn't the first. She was just the one who found out. Here's another question for you watching. Do you think people who live double lives feel guilt, or only fear of being caught? Jonathan tried to apologize. He said he loved them both. He said he was confused. He said he never meant to hurt anyone, but betrayal isn't confusion, it's maintenance. Claire blocked him everywhere. Emily left him too. Jonathan lost both relationships in one night, but the damage didn't end there. Claire struggled with trust afterward. She questioned her instincts. She replayed memories, wondering what was real and what was staged, but slowly she healed. She wrote later, "The worst part wasn't discovering I was the other woman. It was realizing how easily someone can perform love without meaning it. Cheating isn't always reckless. Sometimes it's organized. Sometimes it's calm. Sometimes it wears a suit and smiles at anniversaries. And that's what makes it dangerous." She discovered his affair through the baby monitor. When Alicia married Marcus, she believed she had chosen stability. They lived in New Jersey. They had a modest home. They had routines. And after 6 years of marriage, they had just welcomed their first child. Alicia was exhausted, but happy. Marcus appeared supportive. He worked long hours, but he said it was to provide more for their growing family. She believed him, because new motherhood doesn't leave much room for suspicion. It leaves room only for survival. Marcus often stayed late at work. Sometimes he said he needed to clear his head and would sit in the car after coming home. Alicia thought he was just overwhelmed like she was, until the night the baby monitor changed everything. Their son was 6 months old. Alicia had just put him to sleep and turned on the monitor as usual. Marcus said he was stepping outside to take a call. Minutes passed. Then Alicia heard something strange. A woman's laugh, soft, close. At first, she assumed the monitor picked up a neighbor's voice, but the sound didn't fade. It grew clearer. Then she heard Marcus, laughing, flirting, saying things he hadn't said to her in months. Her heart began to race. She grabbed the monitor and followed the sound through the house, past the hallway, past the kitchen, to the garage. Marcus had left his phone connected to the baby monitor speaker by mistake. And through that speaker, Alicia heard everything. The woman's voice was unmistakable. Playful, intimate. They talked about how careful they had been. About how Alicia was too tired to notice. About how they would find more time soon. Alicia felt physically sick. At this point, let me ask you watching. If you overheard your partner cheating while you were caring for your newborn, would you confront them immediately or stay silent and plan your exit? Alicia stood frozen. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She listened. And what she heard destroyed her. The woman wasn't a coworker. She wasn't a stranger. She was Marcus's best friend's wife. Alicia recognized the voice instantly once the name slipped out. They had attended barbecues together. shared meals, held each other's babies. The betrayal wasn't just romantic, it was communal. When Marcus came back inside, Alicia was sitting at the kitchen table. The baby monitor sat between them. He stopped walking, he knew. She pressed the replay button. His own voice filled the room. Marcus collapsed into a chair. He didn't deny it. He admitted the affair had been going on for nearly a year, starting when Alicia was pregnant. He said it just happened. He said he felt lonely. He said he never meant for it to go this far. But cheating during pregnancy isn't loneliness. It's cruelty. Alicia asked him to leave that night. Not tomorrow, not after counseling. That night, Marcus begged, cried, promised to end it. But Alicia had already seen the truth. A man who could betray her at her most vulnerable would do it again. She contacted the other woman's husband the next day. The fallout was immediate. A marriage ended. A friendship ended. 2 households collapsed. Marcus tried to fix things, but Alicia had changed. She filed for separation within weeks. The hardest part wasn't the paperwork, it was the silence. The nights alone with a baby. The grief of losing the future she believed in. The anger at herself for trusting so deeply. But slowly, she rebuilt. She leaned on family. She found strength she didn't know she had. Months later, she wrote anonymously online. I didn't just hear his affair. I heard the moment my love for him died. Here's a question for you. Do you believe cheating during pregnancy or postpartum is unforgivable, no matter the apology? Marcus now co-parents from a distance. Alicia no longer monitors his promises. She monitors her peace. Cheating doesn't always get exposed by messages or locations. Sometimes it exposes itself through carelessness, and sometimes the truth speaks through a baby monitor. He let her plan a future he knew would never happen. Megan met Tyler in Austin, Texas, at a friend's housewarming party. He was charming without trying, funny without being loud, the kind of man who listened more than he spoke. They started dating slowly. By the 3rd month, Tyler was already talking about the future. Where they'd live, how many kids they'd have, what kind of life they'd build together. Megan didn't push. She simply believed him. After a year, they moved in together. Split rent, shared groceries, shared routines. Tyler talked about proposing soon. He said he wanted it to be perfect. Megan trusted him. Why wouldn't she? But there was something Tyler never did. He never posted her, no photos, no mentions, no tags. When Megan asked, he said he liked privacy. Said social media ruined relationships. She accepted that until the cracks began to show. Tyler traveled often for work, usually on weekends, usually with short notice. He'd return tired, but distant. Less affectionate, more distracted. One night, Megan borrowed his tablet to look up a recipe. It was still logged into his email. She wasn't snooping, but she saw a message preview. I miss you already. Can't wait until next time. Her stomach dropped. She opened it. The email wasn't romantic on the surface, but it was familiar. Too familiar. There were photos attached. Tyler, on a beach, smiling? The same smile he gave Megan. The woman's name was Rachel. Megan felt something inside her shift. She searched the name on social media. What she found made everything worse. Rachel lived in Dallas. Her profile was public. And there it was, photos of Tyler with her, at weddings, on trips, at family gatherings captioned as my love. At this point, let me ask you watching. If your partner kept you hidden but presented someone else publicly, would you confront them immediately or dig deeper first? Megan kept digging. She scrolled. Rachel and Tyler had been together for 3 years. A full year longer than Megan had known him. They weren't dating casually. They were engaged. The ring Megan had been waiting for already existed. Megan sat on the couch in shock. She thought about every future conversation they'd had. Every plan, every promise. Tyler had known it was all a lie. When Tyler came home that night, Megan didn't yell. She didn't cry. She asked one question. Who is Rachel? Tyler froze. Then he sighed. He didn't deny it. He admitted Rachel was his fiancée, that they'd been having problems, that he met Megan during a break. But breaks don't last years. Megan asked him why he stayed. Tyler said something that still haunts her. You made me feel like a better person. Megan asked him to leave. Immediately, Tyler tried to explain, tried to bargain, tried to justify. But Megan had realized something powerful. He didn't just cheat. He borrowed her life to escape his own. Megan contacted Rachel. Rachel already suspected something, but didn't have proof. Now she did. The engagement ended. Tyler lost both women, but the damage to Megan lingered. She questioned every compliment, every future promise from anyone new. Months later, Megan wrote, "He didn't steal my time. He stole my belief in honesty." Here's something to think about. Is emotional future faking worse than physical cheating? Or are they the same betrayal? Megan eventually moved out of Austin, started over. Not because she failed, but because she refused to build a life on lies. Some people don't cheat for passion. They cheat for comfort, for escape, and they'll let you plan a future they already know will never happen. The shared phone plan that exposed everything. When Jasmine and Eric moved in together in Sacramento, California, combining their phone plans felt like a small step. Nothing romantic, nothing emotional, just practical. They'd been together for 3 years. Talking about engagement, talking about buying a home. Trust felt solid. Eric was calm, predictable, the kind of man who insisted he hated drama. Jasmine believed him. The first red flag came quietly. Their phone carrier sent a monthly usage breakdown. Normally, Jasmine ignored it, but one month a number stood out. One contact, hundreds of messages, late nights, early mornings. The name wasn't saved, just a number. At first, Jasmine told herself it was spam or work, but the pattern didn't lie. Texting peaked after midnight. Especially on nights Eric said he was too tired to talk. Jasmine didn't confront him. She waited, because sometimes the truth reveals itself when you stop asking questions. A week later, Eric left his phone charging in the kitchen. A message popped up. "I still feel your hands on me." Jasmine's chest tightened. She didn't open it. She didn't need to. At this point, let me ask you watching. If you saw a message like that on your partner's phone, would you confront them immediately or wait until you had undeniable proof? Jasmine waited. She checked the phone bill again the next month. Same number, even more messages. She searched the number online. It belonged to Melissa, a yoga instructor, 32 years old, lived 15 minutes away. Jasmine followed her on social media, and slowly, the picture formed. Photos of sunsets, wine glasses, inside jokes and captions. Nothing explicit, but familiar. Too familiar. Then Jasmine saw it. A photo of Melissa's living room. In the background, Eric's jacket, the same one hanging in their closet. That night, Jasmine confronted him. She placed the phone bill on the table. The screenshots, the photos. Eric stared at them in silence. Then he did what cheaters often do. He minimized. It didn't mean anything. It was just physical. It was a mistake. But mistakes don't repeat nightly. Jasmine asked how long. Eric admitted it had been going on for 8 months. 8 months of lies. 8 months of sharing a life with 2 women. He met Melissa at a gym. Started talking, started meeting after workouts. He said Jasmine had become distant. Jasmine laughed. Distance doesn't create betrayal. Choices do. Here's another question for you. Do you believe access to shared accounts makes cheating easier to catch, or just more painful to discover? Jasmine asked Eric to leave. He packed a bag. Left behind 3 years of shared life. Jasmine contacted Melissa. Melissa was shocked. She didn't know Eric was living with someone. She ended it immediately. Eric tried to come back weeks later. Promised therapy, promised transparency, promised change. But Jasmine had learned something crucial. Trust once broken doesn't return to its original shape. She stayed single for a while. Learned to enjoy quiet. Learned to trust herself again. Later, she wrote online. The phone plan didn't expose his affair. His behavior did. The bill just confirmed what my intuition already knew. Cheaters often forget one thing. Digital footprints don't disappear. And sometimes the most boring details, like a shared phone plan, end up telling the loudest truth. The engagement party where the other woman toasted first. When Brianna walked into the restaurant that night in Denver, Colorado, she thought it was just a birthday dinner. That's what her boyfriend Lucas told her. Nothing big, he said, just friends. But when she opened the door, the room erupted. Surprise, balloons, flowers, champagne glasses raised high, an engagement party. Brianna froze. Lucas dropped to one knee. She said yes before her brain caught up with her body. The ring sparkled. Everyone cheered. Her parents cried. For a few minutes, it felt like a dream she hadn't dared to imagine. They had been together 4 years. Lived together, too. Talked about marriage carefully, slowly. Brianna thought this moment meant certainty. She was wrong. The dinner began smoothly. Speeches followed, friends laughed. Families shared memories. Then Lucas's coworker stood up. A woman Brianna had met only twice. Her name was Samantha. Samantha raised her glass. "I just want to say," she smiled, "I've never seen Lucas so in love. Watching him balance everything these past few months hasn't been easy, but somehow he's managed." The words felt off. Balance what? Brianna glanced at Lucas. His smile stiffened. Samantha continued, "And I'm just grateful I got to be part of his journey, even if it wasn't always simple." The room applauded. Brianna didn't. Her stomach tightened. At this point, let me ask you watching, if something felt wrong during what should be the happiest moment of your life, would you ignore it or listen to it? Brianna excused herself to the restroom. Her hands trembled as she stared at her reflection. This was paranoia, she told herself, until her phone buzzed. An unknown number. "I'm sorry, you deserve the truth." Another message followed. "Lucas and I have been seeing each other for over a year." Her vision blurred, she replied. "Who is this?" "Samantha, the same woman who had just toasted her engagement." Brianna locked herself in a stall. Samantha explained everything. She and Lucas met at work during a late project. They started talking, then texting, then sleeping together. Lucas told Samantha he was in a complicated situation. Said he was planning to leave. Instead, he proposed tonight. With her in the room, Brianna walked back to the table calmly. Too calmly. She tapped her glass. "I'd like to say something." The room quieted. Lucas looked relieved until she spoke. "I just found out that my fiancé has been cheating on me with someone here tonight." Gasps filled the room. Lucas stood up quickly. "Brianna, please." She raised her phone. "I have messages, timelines, names." She turned to Samantha. "Thank you for your honesty, but you should have told me before you toasted." Samantha stood frozen. Lucas tried to speak. No one listened. Brianna removed the ring, placed it on the table. "This engagement is over," and she walked out. "Here's a question for you. Would you have exposed the truth publicly, or handled it privately afterward?" The fallout was immediate. Friends chose sides. Families demanded explanations. Lucas begged. Said he panicked. Said he loved Brianna. Said Samantha meant nothing. But betrayal revealed publicly leaves no room for excuses. Brianna canceled the wedding within days, returned gifts, returned deposits. But she kept one thing, her dignity. Weeks later, Samantha reached out again to apologize. She said she didn't know Lucas would propose that night. Brianna believed her. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. Brianna cut all ties with Lucas, moved out, started therapy. She wrote later, "The most painful part wasn't the cheating. It was realizing he was capable of humiliating me in front of everyone I loved." Months passed. Brianna healed slowly. She stopped blaming herself. She learned to trust her instincts again. Sometimes betrayal doesn't whisper. Sometimes it announces itself, with a toast, a ring, and a room full of witnesses. The fiancé, the best friend, and a decade of lies. Samantha met Derek in college in Toronto, Canada. He was charismatic, funny, protective in that comforting, subtle way. By graduation, they were inseparable. By 25, they were engaged. 10 years of history, 10 years of plans, 10 years of building what Samantha believed was an unbreakable foundation. But the foundation was rotten. The first sign came innocuously enough. Derek's text late at night. He said they were work friends, nothing more. Samantha trusted him, but over time the tone shifted. Laughter in texts that didn't sound like a friend. Late-night messages that ended in emojis no one uses with colleagues. She asked. He smiled, waved it off. "Don't be paranoid," he said. She tried to let it go. After all, 10 years is a long time to distrust someone. Then came the anniversary trip. Derek said they were going to Niagara Falls. Samantha booked the hotel, packed bags, anticipated romance. Everything seemed normal, until a name appeared on Derek's phone. "Can't wait to see you tonight, Emily." Samantha froze. She tried to rationalize Emily, a new coworker, a distant cousin, but intuition screamed. She remembered Emily, her best friend since high school, the one she trusted above all, the one who knew her deepest fears, her dreams, her secrets. The text didn't lie. Derek had been secretly dating Emily, her best friend, for nearly a year. At this point, let me ask you watching, If your partner and your best friend were betraying you, would you confront them together or separately? Samantha followed her instincts. She called Emily. Emily answered casually. "Hey, can we talk?" Samantha asked. There was a pause. Then Emily said, "You know, Samantha, I tried to stop it. I really did. But I fell in love with him. I never wanted to hurt you." Samantha's world spun. The betrayal wasn't just romantic. It was personal, it was communal, it was history. She thought about the 10 years of memories with Derek. All the trips, the holidays, the inside jokes, the ones she thought were sacred, had been contaminated. The next day, Samantha confronted Derek. He didn't deny it. He said he loved both women, that he didn't want to hurt anyone. He cried, pleaded, begged for understanding. But betrayal of this magnitude doesn't come from confusion. It comes from repeated choice. Samantha made a decision immediately. She ended the engagement, told Derek to move out, then she faced Emily. Her best friend was ashamed, tearful, and apologetic. Samantha listened, then she walked away. No reconciliation, no forgiveness. Some people live with guilt. Some people live without it. Samantha chose to live without them. Here's a question for you watching. Could you remain friends with someone who betrayed you with your partner? Or is that line uncrossable? Months later, Samantha reflected. She had lost a decade of trust, a fiancé, and a best friend. But she had gained clarity, self-respect, and the ability to rebuild a life without lies. She wrote in her journal, "The hardest part wasn't losing him or her. It was realizing that 10 years of love can't survive lies, but surviving them can make me stronger than I ever imagined." Sometimes betrayal comes from the least expected places, the people closest to us, the ones we trust most. And sometimes surviving it isn't about forgiveness. It's about choosing yourself over the lies. Betrayal is never easy to see coming. These stories show how cheating and lies can destroy relationships, trust, and even years of love. But they also show how people can survive, heal, and reclaim their lives. Remember, being aware, trusting your instincts, and putting yourself first is the key to avoiding the pain others endured. If these stories shook you, please like this video and subscribe for more real, raw, and emotional tales every week. Click the notification bell so you never miss a story that could change the way you see love and trust. Share your thoughts in the comments. Which story impacted you the most, and have you ever experienced betrayal like this? Your story could inspire our next video.
Thanks for watching. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance to you.